Okay, guys, today we will be reacting to his story. I've actually watched his story on TikTok a lot. I actually followed him, so you can follow him if you want to, and also if you have TikTok, and also subscribe to him, and yeah, and yeah. I also there's like a girl version like called Her Story, and we might react to her in the next video. Yeah. So like in this video, we will be reacting to his story. What's the popular video? Okay, this one.
Flint dangled my backpack over my head at my new school and taunted, "Reach for it, gnome." I was 4'11", and the whole hallway laughed while I jumped. When school ended, I cried the entire way home because I thought I was already done growing and was cooked for life. But when I got to the house, my new neighbor pushed a plant into my hands. Water it.
I have the same plant. So that's why I'm tall.
Every morning, he said. As it grows, so will you. I stared at him blankly and
no, like I have the same plant. I might show it to you at the end of the video. I think this. I don't know. Someone might remind me. I don't know. I'll show it.
Could have sworn he was trying to make fun of me. But the next morning, my jeans stopped above my ankles. I'd grown an inch overnight. I immediately banged on the neighbor's door to find out what the hell he'd given me. But his house was empty. It was like no one had ever lived there. But I kept watering it every morning. And every morning my clothes fit worse and I stood a little taller. 2 weeks in Flint barely reached my shoulder, and he moved out of my way without a word. I couldn't believe it, and I laughed to myself. We got magic plants before we got GTA 6. And after just 3 weeks, I was 6'7", starting center on varsity, dunking in warm-ups while the whole gym went quiet. Girls would even wave at me during games, and I felt like I was him. One night, I was thanking the plant for everything it had done for me when a white light poured straight through my curtain. The glass cover I'd kept over the plant was shattered across my carpet, and the plant was sitting on the windowsill like someone had put it there. The neighbor stepped out from behind the tree, the same one whose house had sat empty for weeks. "It came back for the plant," he screamed. "Push it down now, or it'll take you instead." I immediately pushed the plant out of the window. Suddenly, a green light shone so bright it burned my eyes, and when I opened my eyes, the plant was gone. I've been 6'7" ever since, and now at school they call me Le Bum instead of Gnome. Flint dangled my backpack over.
That's actually insane.
I walked into class, and my teacher's finger was pointed at my chest. "Empty your bag. We both know what you stole." I put my hands in the air, no idea what she was talking about. Behind her, Daniel in the front row, wiping his eyes, and the empty spot on his wrist
What did he do? What made Daniel cry?
where his watch always sat. "That was my dad's watch," he said. "He gave it to me before he passed. Why would you steal it?" Another kid crossed his arms. "Stuff
You didn't steal it.
always goes missing in this class." I just stood there, accused of something I didn't do, with no idea how to prove it. The teacher snatched my backpack, and I turned it upside down as everything I owned hit the desk, but no watch. "It wasn't me, I swear. I wouldn't do that." But then the principal came in with his phone out, and we could all hear Daniel's mom screaming, "I'm suing the family of whoever stole it." Daniel just stared at the floor. That watch was all I had left of my dad. The principal turned to me. "Can you even describe what you stole?" But before I could answer, my teacher said, "Gold," his initials engraved on the back. But I immediately questioned her. "How do you know? Look, he's trying to blame me. Get this kid out of here." But Daniel's mom was still screaming through the phone, "Check every desk in that room, now!" The principal agreed, so they emptied my desk onto the floor, then the desk next to mine, then every desk in the row, and the watch wasn't in any of them. I didn't want to be sued, so I pointed at the one desk nobody had touched. "Check her desk, she's in this room too." The teacher froze. "You're taking a thief's word over mine? Why would I have it?" But her hands were shaking, so he reached past her and pulled the drawer open himself and gasped. There was Daniel's gold watch sitting right on top, initials face up, but then he lifted the whole drawer out and set it on her desk so everyone could see what was inside. A phone, Apple Watches, jewelry that she stole from students. The kid from earlier yelled, "That's my phone! I lost it a month ago." Kids were finding their own stuff in her drawer. Daniel's mom yelled, "I'm suing you! How dare you steal from students!" As she sobbed, I pointed and laughed. "Now everyone knows what you stole."
That's just sad though.
I walked into class and the school prankster grabbed my waistband in the packed hallway and yanked my pants straight to the floor. But I had a second pair of shorts on underneath because I knew this day would come, so I bent down, pulled my jeans up, and kept walking. The hallway stared at me with wide eyes. Nobody had ever watched Oscar lose, and now he stood there holding my belt loop with his mouth hanging open. He jabbed a finger at my back. "I will get you," I laughed. "We'll see about that one, buddy." The next morning, I caught Oscar rigging a bucket of expired milk over the bathroom door, then ducking around the corner to wait for me. and I laughed because this was his usual routine. So I yelled that someone was messing with his setup. He came charging back through the door to save it, and the whole bucket dumped down over his own head. He stood there soaked, milk dripping off his chin, hair flat against his face, while a dozen kids pulled out their phones and pointed. No way, the prankster's actually getting dethroned. For the first time in his life, Oscar didn't say anything. He just stared at me like his little head was about to explode. This isn't over. I patted him on the head. Whatever you say, little man. And on the morning of the spring assembly, I found a thin cord tied to the back of my jeans, trailing down to the front row, and Oscar was holding the end of it. He was planning to yank it the second I stood up for my science award, dropping my pants in front of 1,200 students, all because he wanted to crown himself as the school prankster. They called my name, and I walked out to the microphone. Oscar sat in the front row with the cord wrapped around his fist, grinning up at me. He waited until every eye in the gym was on me, stood up, and yanked it with everything he had. His own jeans shot straight down to his sneakers, because when he wasn't looking, I tied his own cord to the back of his own pants, and 1,200 kids saw the king of the school standing in his boxers. The gym exploded. I leaned into the microphone while he scrambled for his jeans. Truce? The school prankster grabbed my waist.
That's crazy.
I was walking on the beach when I saw an elderly couple screaming and pointing at the
Say you did up on that one. Money rule. So there's also a challenge about can I use Wi-Fi? I have to use a cellular. Doesn't matter.
ocean. I followed their hands and spotted a little boy, maybe 6, caught in the current, his arms slapping at the water as it dragged him out to sea. "Lucas! He's drowning! Someone help him!" they cried. But the old man had only made it knee-deep before his wife pulled him back, both far too frail to reach him. There were no lifeguards, no one else but us. They screamed at me, "Can you save him? Please! He's all we have!" My heart pounded because I hadn't touched the ocean since I nearly drowned in it as a kid, but I couldn't stand there and watch Lucas die, so I ran into the waves. The water was freezing, and my whole body started shivering. The current yanked me under before I even reached him, but I fought my way back up, kicking with everything I had. My chest burned, and panic clawed at me. As the harder I swam, the farther out I drifted. "Help! Help!" Lucas screamed, gasping as the waves swallowed him. So I clawed toward him and grabbed his arm, but the second I held him up, I couldn't even keep myself afloat, and had no idea how I'd get him back to shore. I spotted the boats and screamed, thrashing and splashing, "Help us! We're drowning!" But they were too far, and never moved. My stomach dropped. No one was coming. Then Lucas went limp in my arms, slipping under. So I shoved him above my head with everything left in me, refusing to let go, even as the water poured into my mouth and I couldn't breathe. Just as my vision went black, Lucas's weight suddenly vanished from my arms. Before I could understand what happened, a hand clamped around mine and yanked me up, breaking the surface. I gasped and coughed as someone hauled me onto a boat. "If you hadn't held that boy up over the water, we never would have spotted you all the way out here," one of them said. But beside me, Lucas lay limp, and I begged him to wake up, scared it was too late. The second we reached the sand, he coughed and spit out a mouthful of water. His grandparents crashed onto their knees and wrapped him in their arms, sobbing. Then the grandma grabbed my hand. "If you hadn't gone in, we would have lost him. You're a hero." But I looked out at the water that almost killed me and decided I'm never going to a beach again. I was walking on the... My boy grabbed my phone and started dialing someone's number. "Dude, Sophie sat me down."
Oh wait.
My boy... I was walking on the beach when I saw...
Okay.
My boy grabbed...
I watched that.
Sophie sat me down at our favorite
Because I already watched that one.
Sophie sat me down at our favorite coffee shop 3 weeks before graduation, and her hands were shaking around her coffee cup. "I need a hall pass." I couldn't believe she was asking this when I literally had a ring in my dorm drawer and a proposal planned for graduation night. "What? Absolutely not." She refused to look at me. "There is this guy Luke from my philosophy class. He is leaving after graduation, and I just need one night." I put my cup down.
Top game.
I found the only copy of my late dad's music CD, and bringing it home was Me and my friend Pete were at the archaeology museum when I tried to touch the mounted skeleton of a T-Rex. My fingers were about to make contact, but then a guard's hand slapped me away. "You can't touch that. If you do, you're getting arrested." His face was red as he turned around and stormed away. But that's when Pete opened his fist. A tiny skeletal finger bone laid in his palm. "I snapped it off the dodo while he was busy with you. Bet you can't grab something bigger before he realizes." I looked at the guard admiring a different skeleton and replied, "Bet." I twisted the last vertebrae off the T-Rex tail. I was anxious purchase and put it in my pocket, but Pete was already at the mammoth mount. I ran over just in time to see him wedging a rib from it. He held it across his chest, but it was too big to fit in his pocket, so he shoved it behind a dark nearby pillar. I started sneaking towards a velociraptor, but then I saw the guard staring at the missing last vertebrae of the T-Rex. I froze and quickly pried a whole foot off the velociraptor, then ran back and dropped it beside the rib. My legs were shaking because the guard was now looking into the socket where the rib was. His mouth was moving. I'll kill whoever did this. I looked back, but Pete was already sneaking past the guard, who was screaming into his radio and pacing. He came back carrying a giant saber tooth, smirking, "Beat that." I felt my insides twisting as I tiptoed to the Brontosaurus and took 2 bones off the leg. I dragged them back while the guard was patting people down one by one. I was panting when Pete suddenly gripped his head. "Wait, dude, we can arrange these bones to make a crazy-looking animal." He immediately took his dodo's finger and my T-Rex vertebrae and placed them as eyes. He put the mammoth rib as a spine, then the 2 Brontosaurus bones as legs, and the raptor claw as a mouth. "What about the saber tooth?" I asked. Pete stroked his chin and dropped it above the eyes. "He's got a mohawk." Pete started laughing, and I did too, because it really looked like a crazy animal. But then we heard footsteps. We turned and saw the guard staring right at us with manic eyes. My legs buckled in fear, and I covered my face preparing for the worst. But then he took off his hat. "What is this incredible prehistoric creature?" He stared at our creation. "Did you kids stumble upon this?" Me and Pete looked at each other and nervously shook our heads. The guard instantly dropped to his knees. 10 years working here, I've never seen this. All my life studying ancient creatures, I've never seen something so incredible. He yanked out his phone and started snapping photos of it. Me and Pete tried not to laugh, then slowly backed away while he stayed on his phone, now talking into it and demanding a placard be made for our creature. I still don't know how we got away with that. Me and my friend Pete were at the archaeology museum. I sat down at my desk and shot straight through the ceiling tiles. I climbed back down covered in insulation, while my coworker filmed me from across the office laughing. He'd been pranking me for months, but this one almost broke my neck. I picked drywall. Our 350-pound friend Tony stormed in front of our row at the movie theater and waved his empty popcorn bucket. "One of you stole popcorn from me, and I'm not sitting down until that person apologizes and—"
Wait, does he just crown the popcorn? That's actually crazy though. Like, no, you actually cry for popcorn. This person might
buys me a refill. We all looked at each other confused, because none of us had touched it. So where did a full bucket of popcorn go? He made us empty our pockets, and when nothing came out, we had 10 minutes to find the killer in the room with us. The lawyer handling my grandmother's will passed us each an envelope. Everyone has their own letter, and you cannot let anyone read yours. Your time starts now. I tore mine open and almost dropped it. Figure out who killed me, and my—
Okay, it's still recording. I just want to check if it's still recording. Okay, let's continue.
Already counting down from 10 minutes. Dad shoved his letter into his jacket and narrowed his eyes. Whoever wrote this sick prank should be ashamed. Nobody answered. Mom wound her necklace around her finger and turned to us. "Okay, you two, this isn't funny." The lawyer cut her off. "This is not a prank. I'd take it seriously. My parents burned 2 minutes fighting over who'd pull a prank this sick while the clock dropped." My sister slipped out her phone
Why I continue? Okay, it's recording.
from her hand. No phones. With 8 minutes left and a killer at this table, I dug my fingers into my pant legs and made myself speak. "This is about Grandma, so let's each say the last time we saw her." Mom's shoulders dropped. "The hospital, the day before she died. We played cards." Dad rubbed his neck. "I came by a few hours after Mom and made her some tea." The clock hit 5, and I turned to my sister. "When did you see her last?" She pulled her knees to her chest and hid her face. I asked again, and she curled tighter as the clock slid under 2 minutes, my heart slamming against my ribs. Dad shot to his feet and jabbed a finger at her. "Why so quiet? You wrote these letters, didn't you?" He grabbed her arm and yanked her toward him, and that was when it clicked. It was the tea. The room went still. Mom played cards with her. "You're the only one who gave Grandma something to drink before she died. It's you, Dad." Dad froze, his hand still locked around my sister's arm. The lawyer clapped once. "Well done." The door flew open as 2 officers kicked it in and stormed the room, ripping Dad off her and slamming him to the floor while he screamed, his jacket torn loose in the scramble. You can read each other's letters now. Mom's matched mine, but my sister's held 2 words. "Say nothing." She finally lifted her head. "I came by right after Dad left. His tea smelled wrong, so I begged Grandma not to drink it." Then the door opened again, and Grandma walked in very much alive. She'd let us all believe she was gone, just long enough for the man who poisoned her to walk in certain he'd won. "Well done, everyone." Mom's hand clamped onto my arm. Grandma lifted Dad's letter from the jacket on the floor and turned it so we could read what she'd written him. "You get nothing. I know what you did." The clock behind her hit 0 and rang. We had 10 minutes to find the killer in the room with us. The flash flood swept the car away, and I only had 1 second to decide who to save. My girlfriend Sarah. We had 10 minutes to find the killer. The flash. My girlfriend tried to kill all three of us on the highway over a joke I made about her driving. I'd been making fun of her driving all morning. At the gas station, I'd told her my side chick parks better than that, and laughed. She didn't laugh, but I didn't think much of it. My best friend Dave was in the back seat the whole time laughing while recording on his phone. Then on the ramp, I looked back at Dave and joked, "Buckle up, bro," like she was about to crash. That's when she lost it. She pulled her foot off the gas and turned to look at me. "You think that's funny? You think I'm a joke?" I told her I was playing, but the owner of my favorite restaurant refused to serve me because of my wheelchair. He crouched down to my eye level, smiled condescendingly, and told me this wasn't the place for people like me. My heart sank because I'd been coming to Marino's every Friday for 8 years. The old owner Richard personally knew my name and order, as it was the one place on earth I felt normal. I stared at the new owner and shrugged in my wheelchair. Why not? He scrunched his nose at my chair like it disgusted him. "We've made some appearance-based changes. I'm sure you understand." I shook my head and pointed at the booth I'd sat every Friday for years. Richard never had a problem with me here. Then Richard liked running a circus. He crossed his arms. "I'm not having freaks in my dining room." I felt my face go red as flashbacks of kids bullying my wheelchair in school hit me so hard, I gripped my wheelchair to steady myself. That's when the owner slapped my hands away from my own chair. "Since you refuse to leave, I'll help you." He grabbed the handles of my wheelchair and started rolling me towards the exit. My face burned, and I grabbed for the wheels to stop him, but he pushed harder. I felt myself lose balance and dropped from my chair. My face hit the floor hard as I knocked over a glass of water, and I heard the wheelchair screech behind me.
What's that rhyme? No, that rhymes. No.
The whole restaurant stopped. These people had seen me dining here for 8 years, but nobody did a thing. I dragged myself across the floor with my arms and hauled my own body back into the chair. My hands were shaking, but the owner didn't even say sorry. He just grabbed my chair and continued wheeling me out. But this time, I didn't resist. I pulled out my phone and dialed loudly. The new owner laughed. "Go ahead, call whoever you want," and shut the door behind me. But 15 minutes later, the restaurant door opened. I rolled in, with Richard rolling in with his wheelchair directly behind me. "I used to own this place," he announced while I crossed my arms. The new owner laughed. "That doesn't matter anymore," Richard scoffed. "Actually, it does." He pulled out a contract. "I own every Marino's in the state. I'm your boss." The new owner's face drained of color and his legs buckled. "I'm sorry, but Richard cut him off. I built this place so people like us had somewhere to eat. You're fired." I grinned and wheeled past the owner into my booth. I watched as he turned to pack his things, and that's when I saw his foot slip on the water I had spilled. His leg twisted, and he fell backwards spine first. I saw him next Friday, rolling in a wheelchair to finish packing his things. The owner of my favorite... My dad pointed at his brand new lawnmower and demanded, "Mow the whole lawn before I get back, and whatever you do, do not crash it into anything." Then he drove off. My friend turned to me at the lockers. "Okay, dude, it's lunchtime, and you're going to see your crush Sienna. Please don't fumble this." I buried my head in my hands. "Dude, I never know what to say." Mike took his AirPods out and handed me one. "Okay, I'm going to go to the yard, listen to what's going on, and tell you exactly what to say, word for word. Got it?" I fist bumped him. "Got it. Thanks, bro." I found Sienna alone at a lunch table and sat down beside her, pretending not to feel nervous. Mike's voice crackled in my ear. "Tell her that you really like her nails because they match her purse." I said it word for word, and Sienna's mouth cracked into a smile. I didn't know guys actually noticed stuff like that. Mike cackled like he was an evil genius. "Perfect. Now look her in the eyes, crack her a half smile, and ask her what she's doing this weekend." I did, and she twirled her hair nervously. "Why, did you want to do something together?" I opened my mouth to speak, but Mike wasn't saying anything. For 5 seconds, we were completely silent, and sweat started dripping down my forehead because I could feel myself starting to fumble the bag. Suddenly, Mike started screaming, "What is that? Ew! Get off of me!" I was so used to copying what he said that I instantly repeated the words. "What is that? Get off of me!" I said calmly. I kept repeating what Mike was saying. "I am not scared of you. I will end your whole family." For a few seconds it was completely silent. Then Mike broke the silence. "Sorry bro, I just got attacked by a wasp." That's when I tore the AirPod out and stared at her in disbelief, realizing what I just said. Sienna doubled over, laughing so hard tears were streaming down her face. I buried my head in my hands. "I'm sorry, I have no riz." I showed her the AirPod. "My boy's been telling me everything to say, and I think he just got attacked by a wasp." Sienna wiped her eyes. I loved it. She grabbed my phone off the table. "Saturday, pick me up and leave the AirPod at home." She winked. "Don't fumble this." My friend turned me at the lock.
Make safe your default.
Okay, this is the end of the video. I'll see you guys in part